I'm here at our corporate 6800 office with my lovely broker, Jamar Hardy. And today he's going to tell us a little bit about what makes a great agent and also why it's so important to use an agent. So I guess let's start off. Just why is it important to use a realtor?
I think the more complicated our business gets, having the security of having a trusted advisor on your side is always going to protect your bottom line as a consumer. So using a trusted advisor like a real estate agent always makes the transaction goes a little bit smoother, and at the end of the day protects your bottom line. I really truly think people that go out there, like the FSBOs in the market that try to sell on their own, they're kind of leaving cash on the table in a weird way in the market like it is today. So that's one, I guess, talking point I would put out there. Trusted advisor is always going to help you secure your bottom line.
Yes, and I don't know what the percentage is, but I remember hearing that actually an only very small percentage of people who do for sale by owner stick with it through to the end. Most of them end up getting an agent after a while.
Well, and I think the other thing about that is, too, agents are going to have, usually a pool or a list of buyers that they can even bring to a property. I mean, in the hot market like we have today where we're having multiple offers, I think I'm hearing on average 5 to 6 offers on a property. Boy, if you don't know what you're doing, you can really leave some money on the table, or at least get a sophisticated buyer maybe is able to talk you down on a price where if there was an agent in the middle of that, again, they can protect your bottom line. So
what should people look for when choosing an agent?
So experience is one thing I think you should look for. I do think there's some newer, hungrier agents that are coming into the market that do have really good resources or are on teams or partnered with people that have been in the business for a while that do have the support and credentials of the team or their office they're in. But at the end of the day, you should really look to see, how many transactions have they really done in the past, and if they know kind of how to deal with maybe your specific need. So if you're an investor, looking for homes out there, you probably don't want to deal with somebody who doesn't really know how fast-paced that investor and how competitive that investor market could be. Same if you're selling something in the $1 million range. Why would you use an agent that has never actually had a listing over 250? So depending on what your needs are, make sure that agent can fulfill and fit those needs, number one. Number two, I think, and this is just, I guess, us talking about who we're a part of, make sure you're with an agent that is part of a reputable brand in the market too. There's a lot of discount shops out there. There's a lot of small brokerages out there that don't have the tools or don't get the exposure when it comes to networking. That can hurt your position in the market as well. So make sure that they are experienced, they have a big brand behind them, some name recognition in the local market that you are selling or buying in. That's going to give you an advantage as a consumer buyer or seller when you're working with a reputable agent.
So in terms of networking, so we have our in-house networking. So for anyone that doesn't know, every branch of Edina Realty is part of the same family, and we network within that. And we do it weekly, and we also have a site where we network. How many transactions do you see come through that never hit the MLS, do you think?
Wow, if I just take our 53rd and Lindale shop, and we track, as we call it, withholds, so just things that aren't necessarily going on the MLS that are pre-networked with the over 2,500 Edina Realty agents we have. I bet, I can use a term of like 30% of the properties that come through our 53rd and Lindale shop a lot of times are pre-networked with Edina agents and sold before they even hit market, or some people might see a term sold before print, if you will. Those deals are done before even the masses get their eyes on them, because we are doing a great job of networking the opportunities to our large pool of agents. So a lot actually happens before the average consumer can see it. And again, that's why you want to pair yourself with a reputable brand that has great resources and networking capabilities.
Yeah, I've had 4 sites in the last year that were Edina pre-market, so definitely important. So what would you say the interview process should look like. If you're looking for a realtor, what questions should you ask them?
Again, I think the importance is really just defining what your needs and wants are first. I mean, even before you sit down with that real estate agent, if you know what you're looking for on the buy side, if you know what you want your bottom line to be on the sell side, I mean, those things have to kind of come out within the interview. And if somebody can respect those lines and actually seems to be well versed in those price segments, that's where the questions should really start. I do think some people have challenges as far as, let's say you're a seller and maybe you have some pets or maybe you have kids and you got a stay-at-home parent, if you will, taking care of those kids. Well, depending on, what your needs would be when you come to the market, you need to have somebody who's able to deal with some of those challenges. They can ward off some of those agents so they don't disrespect your space as well. So I think depending on what your top 3 to 5 needs are, make sure that agent can meet those needs and they can explain to you how they're going to meet some of those challenges. Again, especially in a very busy and hot market, because we've heard stories from sellers that, oh my gosh, we're putting the house on the market, we're not even live yet, we put a sign post saying coming soon, and we got people knocking on our windows, knocking on our doors because it's such a hot market and people are looking for opportunities. You want to make sure there's a plan put in place to meet your needs as a consumer. Really understanding that as a buyer or seller, you steer the ship. The real estate side of things is your partner. Maybe they're the quarterback of your team, but at the end of the day, you are the general manager, the owner of your situation. So make sure whoever you decide to bring into your organization can fit your overall scheme, if you will, using a sports analogy because I'm a coach. So, yeah.
Okay, so last question, because I was just discussing this with someone yesterday. Mm-hmm. What do you feel about people using friends or family as their agents?
So I have my opinion, but I also understand the other side, and I'll just start with my opinion. Why wouldn't you use somebody that you trust, right? Especially if that person has the credentials, been in the business long enough, has been successful, and you just know kind of their business acumen, if you will, or just how they lead with their everyday life. Why wouldn't you use them? The flip side of that conversation is, I'm private. I don't want to cross those lines, those friends and family lines. I had a buddy that I've known since 4th grade tell me, gosh, the reason why I didn't want to use you, Jamar, is because I wanted to hire somebody I could fire. Fair enough, but still, why not? Why am I not even getting the interview, right? To see if I'm okay with you firing me, right? So I just think there's two sides of the coin on that one. But gosh, I would want to work with somebody that I can trust. With all the information being kind of public knowledge now, there's really not a whole lot that's secret that a consumer can put out there. You close on a place, that becomes public record on how much you spend and how much you put down. You record a mortgage, that becomes public record. So it's just really working with somebody that you can trust. And I would start with the people that I know before I'd go with somebody I don't know. But again, I understand there's two sides of that coin. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, the misconception is maybe the buyer or seller and realtor relationship is going to be, adversarial one,
right.
Which is I have a great relationship with all of my past clients, even the ones I didn't know beforehand. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's going to go great and you're not going to have to fire the person or have a bad relationship with them after that.
Right. Again, like I said, there's two sides of that coin. I've also had clients that I've worked with in the past that said, well, of course I'm going to use you because I don't want the uncomfortable conversation when we, show up to softball that, hey, Jammer, my friends call me Jammer. Hey, Jammer, I just bought a house. It's like, oh, really? You didn't call me first? Like, wow, that could be an uncomfortable relationship moving forward. So we're 100% commission. It's nice to have to lead in a way where we're honest about what we do for a living. But if we are full-time agents, I guess that goes back to a question you asked when you're picking an agent, make sure they're full-time as well. If we are full-time agents, gosh, give us an opportunity if we know you, because you never know. Once those professional lines are really drawn in the sand, you really could have the advantage working with somebody if they really are lead with a great business sense in the market. So, yeah.
Agreed. Well, thank you, Jamar.
More questions? Keep me the questions. We're live. Just keep me the questions. It's fine.
I don't know. Do you want to write a question? Great information, Jamar and Erica. Always so full of great knowledge. Oh, thank you, Kyla.
Yeah.
Oh, and Shauna's watching us. Hi, Shauna.
Hi, Shauna. Randy was on, and she's not anymore, but maybe she's heard me speak too much, so I get it, Randy. Yeah.
Well,
can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
So, as an agent yourself, what do you look for in a client relationship? Because it is a two-way street, and you get to pick who you want to work with too. So, what's a perfect client for Erica?
My perfect client, Well, I do think, going back to what you're saying, I am a professional. I do this full time. I like to think I'm pretty good at it. So when clients respect my knowledge and opinion, I would never get somebody into a house I didn't believe was a great house for them to be in. And I would, never sell someone's house for less than I thought. And so I'm always protecting their best interests. And when clients trust that I have their best interests in heart, that's always great. But yeah, I love working with my friends, honestly, and I've made a lot of new friends doing this. I like to say we become best friends when we're looking at houses on the buy side, right? Like, most of my buyers, I'm seeing them multiple times a week, sometimes every day for weeks. It's been months before, and you really spend a lot of time with this person. And so it's nice to spend time with people that you can talk to about things, you can have fun, because it's not always a great time driving all over town looking at houses. So it's fun when you can have fun with the people. And of course, anyone who's my vocal supporter.
I got another interesting question for you, because I've had this asked before. Have you ever had to fire a client before?
No.
It's very liberating, by the way.
No, I haven't. Luckily, I've worked with some pretty great clients. I do have one client who I would not work with again, though, if they came to me. But I did not fire them. But I wouldn't do it again. So
that's the whole point of it being two sides of the coin. It has to work for both. I just can't work for one person. So, yes, I've fired a client before after a long time of showing houses. So I do know when you get to that point in your career and you have control over who you want to work with, it can be kind of liberating to have that opportunity. Not saying we're looking for people to hire and fire, but it's just at some point maybe you might not be a good fit. So,
True.
That kind of goes back to the question you asked about when you're interviewing. You want to make sure it's a good fit, let you guys kind of in line with each other spiritually in kind of a weird way when it comes to business acumen, right? Just that you guys are kind of on the same page. Yeah.
Any more questions for me?
Yeah, I do have a great question. So you have any big plans, any big to-dos that are happening this year?
This year, I guess. I am getting married in August. Yeah, so that.
Shout out to Tim. I know you're not watching this, but hopefully she'll save it. And like my guy, Tim, she picked a good one.
Wait, Tim's getting a shout out on this? So I have to plan weddings alongside of selling houses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, maybe if I got a really good client, I'll invite them to my wedding.
Hear that?
Extra.
Do business with her, you get to go to a summer wedding.
There's going to be tacos.
Tacos! One big last question for you. Why did you decide to become a real estate agent?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, a lot of people know that I had a lot of different jobs for many years after college. Service industry, I lived abroad for a while. And while I think it was all a great experience, I did actually go to college and wanted to not necessarily work in the service industry for the rest of my life, paying off my student loans. But I knew that there were a few things that I needed in a job. I wanted a job where I was going to be interacting with people daily, not just sitting in an office staring at a computer. I wanted a job that had a flexible schedule. I really enjoyed traveling and just kind of keeping my own hours. But I wanted something that had a lot of room for growth too, and self-growth, because, of course, people get promotions at jobs all the time, but I kind of get to decide in real estate if I want to promote myself, right? So you get out as much as you put in. So I decided to kind of dip my toes in, and I thought, well, I'll take the classes, I'll get licensed. If I don't like it, you know, I lost maybe, you know, $1,000 or whatever it costs. And then I started doing it, and I loved it. And now it's what I do full time.
And she is awesome at it. We have an office of right around 45, 46 agents. I've been in my current position as managing broker for a couple of years. I can tell you when I came through the door, Erica didn't have the voice that she has now in the office or even in the business. She's been very involved, not only in our office environment, but even at the local and state and national side of the associations of realtors. She's a great advocate, not only for her clients, but also for the real estate brand, the realtor brand, if you will. So you are getting more from just her than the average agent. So, and then going back to your question you had about you know, what makes a great agent. You know, I do think the advocacy work that agents do for our realtor community is very important, because it does give you kind of a leg up on the competition, because you're in the know of everything that's happening before it actually happens. So,
Sure.
yeah. So thank you for
Thank you.
for being such an extraordinary realtor.
Oh, this is taking a pleasant turn. Okay, well, if anyone needs to get a hold of me, send me a direct message on Facebook or call or text at 612-729-7239. Bye.
Real quick, hey, if anybody wants to become a real estate agent,
Wait, you're hijacking
you can
my-
definitely talk to Erica. She can tell you the agent's point of view, but from the broker's point of view, feel free to reach out to Erica, and maybe we can meet over coffee.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
plug for yourself.